We are going to start today with slide 19. We're going to cover slides 19 to 33. There will only be 2 questions for homework tonight, and that will be question number 5 and number 10. And I have that posted as well. Hopefully, well, let's get an honest count here. How many of you actually watch the videos that I posted? Nice, thank you. Appreciate that. I appreciate it. Did it help or did it not make a difference? And you can be honest with me.
Yes.
Okay, good. I've done this many years, so I pretty much know, while I talk, I know kind of what I need to tell you that you're going to need to know when you do the questions, so hopefully you picked up on some of those. And for those of you that didn't, we'll probably be in this position again, and I'll continue to do that, so it will probably help you out. And even if you don't do the work on, on a computer, you can still look at the videos on your phone, so you can still do that also. All right, cell classification. I know this one from years past are probably not terms that you've heard before. Eukaryotic and prokaryotic, have you heard those terms before? I didn't imagine so. No other group ever has. Cells can be classified as prokaryotic or eukaryotic. Eukaryotic cells have a nucleus surrounded by a membrane. Prokaryotic cells do not have a membrane-bound nucleus. So if you can imagine it, eukaryotic cells are more complex. Prokaryotic cells are going to be single-celled organisms, okay? Amoeba, plankton, some bacteria. Eukaryotic cells, hair cells, skin cells, heart cells, muscle cells, brain cells, plant cells, okay? Prokaryotic. These are going to be very simple, one-celled organisms. So an example would be bacteria is an example of a prokaryotic cell. And then we have a eukaryotic right here. It has a membrane, a nucleus that is surrounded by a membrane. What is a membrane? Can anyone tell me? Yeah, Will, what do you think?
The outside, layer?
Yeah, it's just kind of like an outside surrounding, so you kind of think of it as a barrier, but not like a brick wall barrier, but still something that basically just holds the contents of that nucleus inside. Yes?
I always imagined a membrane kind of like a gel, like a thick, viscous
kind of. If you think about a bubble even, just like, when you were a kid, you blew bubbles, and that kind of like that shiny little outside covering, that's also a membrane. So it's just kind of like the outside covering that holds stuff in. Yes?
Similar to Noah, I thought it was kind of like a smooth gel, similar to like a brain, to the substance of the brain.
Yeah.
But it's not like, but it's sort of like gel. It's not completely liquid, but it's also not.
And the reason it's like that is because it lets some stuff in and some stuff out. So stuff can pass through it. That's why I said it's not like it's a solid brick wall. But it's kind of flexible and it lets some things in and then pushes things out.
Pushes the waste of the cell out into the blood and the...
You got it. You're predicting what I'm going to talk about and you're correct. Okay, and this is an animal cell, so this would just be like any cell that we would have in our bodies or any other animal. What is a membrane? A membrane is a thin, flexible substance that encloses something and acts as a barrier. Like I said, it's not like something really solid, but it kind of acts as a barrier. And that, if you could think of these are all of this right here that surround all these bubbles, all of that is our membrane that keeps stuff in the inside. Prokaryotes. Prokaryotes are made up of what kind of cells? Kind of predict here, guys. Prokaryotes are made of what kind of cells?
Prokaryotic.
Prokaryotic, thank you. Okay. So can you imagine if prokaryotes are made out of prokaryotic cells, then eukaryotes must be made out of eukaryotic cells. Nice job predicting. Okay. Prokaryotes are organisms made up of prokaryotic cells. Remember, these are very simple, very one-celled organisms, are prokaryotes. They are unicellular, which means they're made of how many cells? One. Bacteria is an example of a prokaryote. Prokaryotic cells are usually much smaller than eukaryotic, and only have a few internal structures. They're very simple. They are not complex at all. Here is a model of a prokaryotic cell. This particular, see? Potential spam. I'm glad you told me. This particular cell is actually of a, lost my train of thought because the phone distracted me. A euglena, that's what it's called. This little tail right here is called a flagellate. That's actually what this particular cell uses to move around, is that little tail. It whips it back and forth. You find these like in pond water would have those, anywhere where you would have single cell organisms. Yes?
Did you know hypokalemia means low potassium presence in blood?
No, I did not. But apparently we all learned something today.
Yes.
Eukaryotes, which are made of eukaryotic cells, multicellular. If something is multicellular, how many cells does it have? So 2 or more. Okay. If it just has 1, it's unicellular. If it has 2 or more, it's multicellular. And some unicellular. You know, they always got to throw that. There's always going to be that exception. There are a few exceptions, and we're going to talk about those exceptions. Eukaryotic cells are much larger than prokaryotic cells, and they're more complex. They contain a membrane-bound nucleus and many internal structures called organelles. What are organelles? Anybody ever heard that term? No one's heard it? Have a guess what an organelle might be? Nobody have a guess?
Would it be the cell of an organ?
Really pretty close, yes. Miley, do you have another guess?
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay. Organelles are like tiny organs, okay? So the organelles are like the little bitty pieces of the particular cell. You may have heard of a ribosome before.